What's up, everybody? This is my third time trying to do this dang on video. Oh, and B, appreciate y'all subscribing to the channel. Do subscribe if you're not subscribed, and hit that bell icon so you can be notified for future videos. Upon looking at the Canelo Alvarez stuff, um, there was Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford was talking about Canelo Alvarez. Now, this is not about Canelo, it is got something to do with Terrence Crawford, but still. So Terrence Crawford is basically saying, look, I done worked hard all my career. He done got, he's been pound for pound undisputed. He didn't get half the acclaim that Canelo Alvarez got. We all know what that's about. But anyway, there was another person who I saw in another article. And he mentioned Terrence Crawford. He had Terrence Crawford's name in his mouth. Actually, somebody asked him from what I've seen. The guy name is Vergil Ortiz Jr. Yeah. I was watching this fight like maybe about 20 minutes ago. I just finished. At least what they got on here is more highlights than anything. But then I seen a fight that was a little bit longer than the rest. But before I get into that, because I got to give y'all my notes on this guy and what I've seen. So, I believe he was a commentator. Yeah, he was a commentator. He had asked Vergil Ortiz Jr., do he think he's ready for Terrence Crawford? He said, yeah, I'll take on anybody. But I'm paraphrasing. Yeah, I'll take on anybody. I'll take on Crawford, Pacquiao. That's how I know that that fight was old, because he mentioned Pacquiao. Pacquiao was retired. You know what I'm saying? He said Errol Spence. He said all of them. But in particular, I noticed that the media only pulled out one name out of there, and that's Terrence Crawford. So I decided to watch Vergil Ortiz Jr. And I know how Terrence Crawford fight. So let me give y'all my notes. And I took this from one particular fight, but I noticed it in every fight I watched. If that dynamic was there. Especially this one guy. What's his name? Kavalauskas? Oh, yeah, he gave you some problems, B. But anyway, the fight in particular where I've seen some serious flaws in the guy was Vergil. Well, things that can be exploited, things that will be exploited if he was to fight Terrence Crawford. After Terrence Crawford, I believe he's fighting Sean Porter. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm about to say Vergil Hill. God dang, I don't know why that's in my dang on mouth. Vergil Ortiz Jr. versus Brad Solomon is the fight that I'm talking about. Okay. One problem that I seen that Vergil Ortiz Jr. has, is hand speed of the opponent. Solomon's hand speed gave him issues here and there. He was whenever the punches came at him, he got defensive. Very defensive. You know what I'm saying? And then I also see where if you tie up Vergil Ortiz Jr., you can frustrate him. He gets frustrated and he loses his concentration. You know what I'm saying? And the hand speed also. You know what I mean? And movement bothers him. Movement bother him, and he can be hit to the body because of his high guard. He keeps a high guard for them speed fighters. You know what I'm saying? Now, I see that as a problem if he fights Terrence Crawford because of Terrence Crawford's experience in the ring. He will exploit every single flaw this guy has. Now, let me give you the plus side of Vergil Ortiz Jr. Vergil Ortiz Jr. Now, I don't know if he's Mexican. I believe so. They say he's from Texas. But he has typical Mexican style. High guard. He comes in. You know what I'm saying? No head movement or nothing like that. He comes straight in and he throws bombs. When I say bombs, the kid is strong. The young man is strong. I ain't call you no kid. You a man, B. You know what I'm saying? You out there doing man stuff, all this kid stuff. A goat is a kid. Look it up. But anyway, um, he comes in and he does what I say is a typical Mexican style. High guard. As soon as he get in, he going for the body first, which is smart, but at the same time you leaving yourself open. But he throws hard, fast punches. You know what I'm saying? And he looks to get you out of there. Every punch that Vergil Ortiz throws is murderous raw. Okay? And they're not slow punches. I'm not saying he has super fast hand speed, but he got decent hand speed. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna fight him, even Terrence Crawford, you have to be aware of that. He has decent hand speed. He got a nice jab, a pretty strong, accurate piston jab. I give him that. You know what I'm saying? But the guys who he fought, I question. Now, here's another guy that I've seen with him, and that's like I said, Kavalauskas. My bad. Kavalauskas rattled you, B. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Mr. Ortiz. I'm talking to you, B. I'm a boxing fan. This is a boxing. It's a boxing channel. I talk about a whole lot of other things, but still, we gonna talk some boxing. You know what I'm saying? So he wobbled. Kavalauskas wobbled Ortiz, and I was like, ooh. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he had him hurt. You know, and I was like, uh-huh. But the thing that Kavalauskas did that I don't think Terrence Crawford would do is Kavalauskas was kind of wild with his punches. And see, throughout the boxing that I've watched throughout my life, those people who throw those wild punches like that, they get them in. They know how to throw them, and they get them in. He got them in on them. You know what I mean? So, him, uh, Vergil Ortiz Jr. versus Terrence Crawford? Not now, B. You ain't ready for that. Sorry. You might think different. Your corner might think different. I've seen too many fights. Too many. And I've been in quite a few myself, so I know what it's like. You know what I'm saying? And I did a little boxing myself, so I know what it's like. Not pro, but there was people who was going pro who they used me as a sparring partner right in the hallway. So I got dummy whopped quite a few times and then learned how to dummy whop. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, they never went pro, just to let y'all know. But they were moving towards that way. Once crack came in the neighborhood, pro my ass. They was pro drug dealers. But anyway, you ain't ready for that, man. I look at you fight. You good for who you fought. Terrence Crawford, you got to up your game. You got to make this a gradual thing, young man. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to, because if you jump in there with Terrence Crawford, I'm gonna say this right now. If Terrence Crawford takes you as his next fight after Sean Porter, you're gonna have some problems, B. Problems. Now, that was the one fighter that they both fought, Terrence Crawford and Vergil Ortiz Jr. They both fought Kavalauskas. Terrence Crawford knocked him out in the ninth. Kavalauskas knocked him out at the end of the eighth. And Vergil Ortiz knocked him out at the end of the eighth. I hope I said that. But anyway, um, don't let that be your measuring stick, young man. Please don't, because they say they say styles make fights. I get it, you know what I'm saying, but Terrence Crawford, you've never seen a style like that. Terrence Crawford in the ring is a nasty, mean, break you down machine, B. Now I know a lot of y'all don't like Terrence Crawford, but I'm sorry, none of y'all can say that the man can't fight. You know what I'm saying? So, Mr. Vergil Ortiz Jr., you got a brother here who gonna be watching you. I'm gonna see what you gonna be doing, who you gonna take on, and how you dispose of them. I want to see you take on tougher competition, somebody who could deal with your aggression, or at least that y'all think can deal with it, a name that we know. Won't give no suggestions. I want to see what you gonna do. O and B, signing out. Peace.